The murder of Madame Ruth Kettering. The attempted murder of Mademoiselle Catherine Gray. All of this is the work of an intelligence formidable. And it moves amongst us now.
Someone once said it's impossible to name a famous Belgian. Whoever said that hadn't done their detective work.
Monsieur Poirot, I'm so glad you're here.
Hercule Poirot is without doubt one of the best-known detectives in literature, and he is very definitely Belgian.
How exciting, you're most frightfully famous.
He's also the only fictional character ever to be honoured with an obituary on the front page of the New York Times.
Oh my God, that's him.
Now that's famous.
I'm really going to faint.
My daughter, you see, is a tremendous fan of yours.
Listen, Poirot, you will take the case on, won't you?
David Suchet has completed 4 all-new Poirot mysteries.
Oui, monsieur. I will take the case.
We've got exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the set and on location.
Oh, hello. Nice to see you all.
We'll reveal how David is transformed into Agatha Christie's eccentric private eye.
Voila.
We'll meet the galaxy of stars lined up for Poirot's latest cases.
Am I happy? I'm always happy.
And we'll discover the secrets of the set, why things sometimes go with a bang.
That's why we always have one too many, because one always breaks down.
C'est scandaleux.
For the past 16 years, Poirot has been a regular on ITV, courtesy of the brilliant British actor David Suchet.
This is so thrilling, I can hardly breathe.
I adore him. And he's really irritating. He drives me crazy.
Since he first took the role, David has filmed a remarkable 53 Poirot stories, making the character his own.
Monsieur. They're all lying, the whole family.
I was frightened to take over the mantle of this extraordinary character, and what I did was I thought, well, rather than work out how I'm going to do it, let me find out who this man is from Agatha Christie's perspectives. I then read as many of her books as I could, making a dossier, and of course Agatha Christie had it all in there, the whole character, all his eccentricities, and I noted them. I wanted to be the character that Agatha Christie wrote.
Order and method. These are the armaments of Poirot.
Now, Suchet's Poirot is a huge international success. Over 80 countries buy the films, making it one of British television's most successful exports. Not surprisingly, it has attracted and continues to attract some of our finest actors.
I can't see the point. Poirot, in the hands of David and the team, has become, like Agatha Christie, a national treasure.
Agatha Christie is such a great icon.
And I think what attracts actors to it is because they're all good characters.
Good stories and lots of whodunits, lots of red herrings.
Just the glamour and the clothes, and, you know, I think it's absolutely gorgeous.
I do not think that we shall be bored.
Everyone involved with the productions acknowledges one thing: David Suchet's fanatical attention to detail.
David Suchet is arguably the best Poirot that has played the part. Brilliantly funny and seriously serious.
The detail he's gone into in every aspect, from his behaviour, his speech. He's a fantastic match for the character of Poirot. I think he's completely claimed it.
David gave me 4 handwritten pages of notes about the character, meticulous things like, never drinks tea, only drinks coffee, and he has exactly 5 lumps in every cup, and always stands when a woman enters the room, and he's an absolute perfectionist.
Oh, parfait.
I think that there's a lot of Poirot in David as well. He's very old school, he's a complete gentleman, he stands up for ladies.
And he acts it through to his feet. I mean, just the sort of walk and the precision of the character, and he sort of sustains it right through the day. Clever boy he is.
I cannot say at the moment. I may be wrong.
Doesn't often happen to you?
It has happened twice in my career.
The voice took a long time to prepare, because everybody who meets Poirot mistakenly thinks he's French.
I certainly didn't think that painted little French popinjay was going to be here, sticking his nose where it doesn't concern him.
Yes, it is
The only way they can think he's French is from the way he speaks. But he can't sound pure French because he's Belgian. And then to move my voice, which is quite deep, into how I perceive that character, which is a walking brain. So he has no emotions really from below the neck. So chest voice wouldn't be applicable. So I changed my voice, raise it until it lives in the head. And you do that by talking up until it becomes in the throat, and then it becomes in the head, and that is how he talks. It is a head voice.
It is easy to let the tender feelings cloud the judgment.
Now, the walk, I actually came across a quote, and the quote went something like this. Poirot crossed the lawn in his usual rapid, mincing gait, with his feet tightly and painfully enclosed within his shiny, patent leather boots. Hence the walk.
So, do you think he's the murderer, Poirot?
It was also essential to understand what was going on inside that Belgian grey matter.
You read people's minds, psychology sort of thing.
Mais d'accord, it is the way of human behavior that interests me.
To murder that director.
All his stories are not necessarily whodunits, they're howdunnits. And howdunnits comes from the psychology of the guilty party. And that's what fires him and that's what excites him.
But I do know about psychology, madame. And when people are together in the room and they talk, the truth, sooner or later, it will always be revealed.
Finally, David Suchet has to look like Hercule Poirot. And for that, he needs a little help from makeup artist Sean Turner.
One of the descriptions of Poirot in the books is that he does look made up and resembles almost a music hall comic. And people in the books and the other characters are always saying, what a funny-looking little man. I've got to play him as I look, which is on the edge of being absolutely real, but also on the edge of being slightly caricatured. But not too much, so that he's unbelievable. Line, it's a very fine line, yeah. It's a full character transformation, really. And it is that moustache that does it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as that goes on, then he's there. And actually, from that moment on, I'm him.
Et voilà.
That's it.
The little man with a big belly.
In the summer of 2005, the Poirot team were in the south of France to film The Mystery of the Blue Train.
Okay, nice and quiet, please. First positions.
On the contrary, it'd be ghastly not to be interrogated when it's so fashionable.
In true Agatha Christie tradition, it features a wide range of wonderfully drawn characters, including one played by an American screen legend.
We've got Van Alden, played by Elliot Gould, who's this big American businessman.
Mr. Poirot, Rufus Van Alden. I'm in oil, figuratively speaking.
Monsieur?
We've got his daughter, Ruth.
I'm Ruth, or the Honourable Mrs. Derek Kettering, if I'm trying to book a table for lunch. You know the English.
Madame.
We've got Catherine, who's
Perfection.
just inherited a huge amount of money, but comes from a very simple background.
There I was in the back of Beyond, looking after a cantankerous rich old lady. Next day I'm one myself.
No. And we've got the typical Brit Brigade in the Riviera, the expats, who are wonderfully drawn. Your Lady Tamplin, played by the wonderful Lindsay Duncan.
All French hotels are intolerable, especially the expensive ones. No, no. You are staying with us.
And we've got her very, very, very young husband, played by Tom Harper.
Look here! I accuse you of being my wife, and I demand the right to be kissed.
The book, by Agatha's own admission, was not one of her favourites, and we've taken some monstrous liabilities with it.
Mummy is incorrigible. She can't just have a party, she has to have a sensation.
There's a house style to increase the number of suspects.
He may well be a killer too, of course, so that's a bit worrying.
It's dramatically desirable to have more people to be anxious about as the story is progressing.
Oh, God! She's only gone and invited him as well! Oh, Mummy. Not want to let a tiresome, brutal murder cramp her style.
and it's quite a lot sillier.
Do you speak French at all? Don't give it a moment's thought. All the right people speak English.
The Blue Train was a very glamorous vehicle that was like the Concorde of its time, that took the jet set from London to the south of France, where they partied like mad along the Riviera.
Unlike the Orient Express, where the murder takes place on the train and the solving of the murder takes place on the train, the mystery of the Blue Train, yes, there is a murder on the train, but the solving of it and the revealing of it all happens off the train. And once again, it's Poirot's how-done-it, rather than who-done-it.
Filming took place over 9 days in an area around Nice.
The villages are incredibly beautiful, hilltop villages. Church squares, old monasteries, winding little streets. It's perfect.
A local museum in Menton doubles as the railway station. The weather is good, but the forecast is not, so there's an air of urgency on the set. Everything needs to be shot while the weather holds.
Everything for Poirot has got to be totally immaculate. So we've got a Dunhill cigarette lighter, original, and this is what he's going to be using for looking for clues when he's in the railway carriages. This is his Russian cigarettes that he smoked. They're cut down to size for him in his own monogram box. We've got original Louis Vuitton, which is 75 years old, and the value is maybe 15,000 on some of the luggage.
The weather takes a turn for the worse, but spirits remain undimmed.
Well, apart from the wind blowing everywhere and my hat about to go, makeup can't deal with my hair, so I've got to put it back on again. It's really nice, actually. No, it's lovely. It's fun filming somewhere else. To actually be in the place where you are supposed to be filming in the story is really nice, instead of pretending.
Catherine becomes his friend, almost his daughter figure, that is a constant reminder of how lonely a man Poirot really is.
And yeah, I think he has a sort of little crush on her, which is quite nice.
Did you know the woman?
No. I mean, no, not really, no.
My character keeps her own counsel and doesn't give much away, so you're not quite sure what sort of person she is, and certainly you're not sure whether she's got anything to do with the predicament. I've got a few nice frocks as well. You know, it's always nice.
Sci-fi fans will remember Josette from her time in Blake 7. And comedy fans will be delighted to know that there's another familiar face on the set.
It was funny meeting Trigger from Fools and Horses.
I was asked, I said, would you like to play a Frenchman in Nice for 10 days? And I thought, well, yes, actually. Very nice, thank you.
Turn over. Roger Lloyd Pack plays a French detective who mustn't speak French.
I've got to speak as an Englishman, not with a French accent, as it were. I think they're worried about too many funny accents, and it might start looking like hello, hello, or something like that. I can't do a French accent, which would be a little bit amusing for me.
A face? Well, there isn't one. She's been hit so many times, there's nothing left.
Such is the interest in a new Poirot, even David Suchet's stand-in is interviewed for a TV magazine.
Standing in, it's something which I like doing, and I used to stand in for Ross Kemp when he had some more productions he was doing. The job involves being a camera lighting stand-in, and it's exactly what it says it is when they've rehearsed the scene. They have to light it and rehearse camera moves, and obviously that can take anything from half an hour to sometimes 2 hours, depending on how intricate it all is. And my job is to be there for David, stand still for quite some lengths of time, and indeed do the moves that are required. And that way he can then rest, be refreshed, learn more lines, and come out fighting, as they say, when they're all ready for him.
As the rain starts to fall, the stand-in becomes even more important. Fortunately, all the key filming has been done before this Mediterranean downpour puts an end to the day's proceedings.
The great thing about coming to the area of Nice and Menton is that you could be in Italy.
This whole area is so Italian. It's all my beautiful and favorite colors. It's wonderful. Nothing like Belgium.
Nothing like Belgium, and certainly nothing like Hollywood Boulevard.
For me, it's like another version of Brigadoon. It's just the way it was. One of the buildings behind me has a commemoration from 1290-something until 1990-something. So that was even before America was discovered. My character is an American character traveling with my daughter, who I passionately love. And I'm a very wealthy person and am buying my daughter anything and everything that is special and unique to express my love for her.
The heart of fire.
So it is.
The film opens with Van Alden acquiring a rare jewel for his daughter. An alleyway in Menton Old Town doubles as the back streets of Paris.
Okay, we'll do one more, please, guys.
A stunt double gets stuck into a serious fight scene under Elliot's watchful eye. A clever piece of editing, and it's Gould who emerges from the action.
My character's private life and personal life is somewhat abstract and bizarre, as we don't find out about me until Poirot starts to examine my story. That's good, Poirot. Oh boy, you are very good.
He's embraced the role because he wanted to be in a Poirot. And I mean, that's the greatest compliment we could have, is when actors of that status say they want to be in this program. Yeah, I'm very flattered.
Yeah. Am I happy? I'm always happy.
But no one's happier than Poirot's many French fans. Franco-Belgian relations were reaching new heights.
They will watch this series. I had no idea. I'm on tonight.
Watch it every week?
Every week, yes.
Come on. One. Oh. Wait.
During the 2 weeks that I've been here, I've been approached by so many fans. He's a cult figure. I had no idea at all.
C'est bon. Voilà. Parfait. Vous êtes Poirot.
It's huge, unbelievable.
I must be careful he doesn't take over the role.
Getting the right location is crucial to the film, and it helps when all the important people love the show.
We've got complete support from the mayor and everybody else concerned. We were able to close down roads, take over museums, anything we wanted, really.
This cafe location was lovingly recreated from old photographs.
Well, this building, in fact, was a casino at the period of time we were shooting now, actually. So now this casino is a cafe for us in 1935.
The daughter faked her own death to punish Papa, or to escape her husband.
Roger Lloyd Pack finally gets a chance to not do his French accent.
I don't know. Both.
And then leads the exodus back home to England.
Au revoir, Nice.
The platform scenes and train exteriors were shot the following week. And if you want to film the Gare de Nice, the obvious place to go is Peterborough.
Oh, hello. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you in Peterborough now, where the blue train is.
Nene Valley Railway is home to Thomas the Tank Engine, the only genuine blue train on view. But TV is a magical thing.
I mean, we couldn't find a yard that would be exactly as it was in Nice in 1938. And it's a lot simpler and it's a lot more fun to do it by trickery. Do whatever we like that way.
This is the only place in the country that has the right kind of railway carriage. It's the blue and cream colours of the original Blue Train. So we've come here and we're pretending that it's 4 different railway stations in France. So you have to try and think of ingenious ways to disguise things. Sometimes tests us. After we filmed, we're going to introduce some computerized images which will kind of reinforce the period and the places that it's supposed to be in. There's the train whistle going, and the murder's about to happen.
My dear Lady Camplin.
Doctor, I think I'm going to be sick.
Whatever is the matter?
Oh, God. I shouldn't have to look at all that blood.
Well, this is a very key moment in the film where they arrive after the train journey. And what you need in a film are moments when you really see what you want to see. The train and all the platform are going to be shot for real, and then the other half of it will be done by trickery later on. So we are seeing Nice in 1938.
There's not just the station scenes to consider, the train also has to be filmed on the move.
Hopefully we'll convince the audience that they're seeing the train travel through France.
The travelling scenes at first look like this, but add a sprinkling of computer graphics and voila, the Blue Train glides across a beautiful French landscape. The last stop on this whirlwind journey is Shepperton, stage K to be precise, where Jamie Murray has an appointment with death.
I'm going to be a bloody corpse later, so I used to always get murdered first thing in the morning. My agent said to me, I've got this wonderful script, Poirot, it's a wonderful part, and you get to go to the south of France. And then I started reading the script, and I read it, and then I'm killed. She's murdered. I'm killed. And I was flicking forward and flicking back and thinking it must be some sort of mistake because I'm killed on the train on the way to France, so I never got to go there. So the rest of the cast all went to Nice and I stayed in sunny old England. I was most disappointed.
But before you can murder someone, a number of things need to be in place.
And so to make it look real, we put fake blood, which is glycerine and food colour, which gives it the consistency of thick blood, and when it dries it still looks like normal blood again. So the effect is splashed everywhere.
Mirror, smashed. Bottle of champagne, smashed.
To stop any actors getting hurt, we use sugar glass. So you just put it on your head and it doesn't hurt.
Ever wondered how they film those moving train sequences with night lights flashing by? This is how. And now it's time for Jamie to meet her maker. The last scene filmed for Blue Train is the murder, a murder which Poirot solved weeks ago. That is the strange and wonderful world of TV drama.
The police, they will have to be informed.
On the same day that Jamie Murray is being murdered on stage K, a short distance away, David Suchet is arriving for a read-through of his next Poirot mystery.
I'm going to read the script, see how it sounds off the page, and see whether any editing or corrections or revisions need to be done. It's also timed.
Within a week, the crew and a cast which includes Geraldine James and Robert Bathurst are on location to shoot after the funeral at magnificent Rotherfield Park in Hampshire.
It's quite possibly one of the most extraordinary locations in which I've filmed, because it is a running private family estate. It's like walking back into time.
Welcome to Enderby, Mr. Poirot.
Merci. C'est magnifique.
We read the script. It sort of just sprang up and went, ooh, yes, it must be Rotherfield. As you come up the driveway, you kind of see the house set up on the hill, and it just suits the story really well. And the interior is fantastic. Although we're here for 2 weeks, you won't get bored of this location. There are a lot of different things there which are good to look at.
It's very nice to sort of swan around here and believe that it's 1936 or whatever it is, and this is
my husband's family home. We should be so lucky, frankly, it's great.
The interiors required almost no dressing at all. All the furniture and the paintings and the antiques were perfect for the period, so that was a big, big plus.
What's important is the outside and the grounds, because all that is evocative. The views, where it's situated, what time of year is it, what colour stone is it. All that will have a bearing on the atmosphere of the piece, so it is very vital, yes.
The house has been used for several film shoots, including Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. For the owners, showbiz isn't always a fun business.
I suppose we must be on various databases, and of course you also get eager young men driving up the drive on spec looking for a likely location. Sometimes it gets too much, but we don't have them in our bedroom or our own sitting room and kitchen, but I certainly had to move out of my office. It's a bit of an inconvenience, really, yeah, and I would say that. Turnover. Well, the upsides, it's quite a fun thing to be associated. I think particularly when you have a quality of production with some actors and actresses that you admire.
And thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you, Mr. Poirot.
And obviously there is a check as well.
After the Funeral is a very English Agatha Christie story, featuring a dysfunctional family which comes together following the death of Richard Abernethy.
And we commit.
I'm the family solicitor who's having to deal with them. He doesn't particularly like them, but he sort of has a professional relationship with them. And he gets his old mate Poirot in.
Who benefited from the death of Richard?
Not the whole family, apart from George, of course, and myself to a small degree.
Ah, so you yourself are a suspect?
Once again, the cast features some of our finest acting talent, including Geraldine James, whose CV ranges from Gandhi and Jewel in the Crown to Calendar Girls and Hearts of Gold.
Must be quite terrifying.
She's done everything from Shakespeare to Little Britain, and great sense of humor, great timing, and just seems always so natural in the part, and you know, is always incredibly prepared, and it's an absolute joy to work with.
I felt there was something wrong that day.
In what way wrong, madame? Unexpected? Or surprising? Sinister, even?
Not sinister, no. More a sense of something not being quite right.
Some people are brittle. They might feel as though they're being directed, or they won't in any way having their performance interfered with. But with Geraldine, it's a complete two-way thing. You know, you can say one thing and she says, no, I don't agree with that, or vice versa. And it's a complete free and easy working relationship. So it's really good.
But at least you're all right. Your visits to him were a great help.
Oh, for heaven's sake! It's George I'm concerned with.
Geraldine once married David Suchet, on screen, of course, in Blot on the Landscape.
So I'm a suspect in your investigations.
Madame, I only wish to discover the truth.
And there's also another of David Suchet's old friends.
I didn't like to say to Timothy, your younger sister's completely batty.
Anna Coulter-Marshall gives a feisty performance as Maud, but there are some scenes where she gets a little bit of help. Yes, thanks to the magic of television, the old lady at the wheel is in fact a man. And talking of drivers, did you recognise this face? Here's a reminder. Yes, David Suchet's driver, Sean O'Connor, plays the part of Poirot's chauffeur. And though the title After the Funeral doesn't suggest it, the drama still bristles with typical Agatha Christie humour, courtesy of our leading man.
They're Mrs. Galaccio's own paintings. They're very good, aren't they?
Oui.
He has a humour in him, Poirot, and I think the way David plays lets it through. There are little sneaky things that come through that you suddenly see, which I absolutely love.
But why would anyone want to do that?
You enjoy watching him, you sort of relish his thought. And he always has that Columbo moment as well in every episode, when Columbo used to turn about to leave a room and say, oh, and just one more thing. Poirot, every episode has that Columbo moment as well.
Monsieur, tell to me, if you please, the 2 horses on which you won some money, what were their names?
Gaymark and Isambard II.
Ah. Merci.
The third film in the new run is Cards on the Table, an intriguing story based around a dinner party and a game of bridge. And once again, the stars have come out to play. One, in fact, has actually come from the stars.
Although I did, Star Trek for 7 years, and we did a lot of bizarre stuff on that show, I still hadn't done any 30s drama, period drama. We all grow up on these shows. These are the staple diet of so much of the world of fiction and drama that it's just a real pleasure to be on such a class one as Poirot.
Alexander Siddig, Dr. Julian Bashir in Star Trek, plays Shaitana, one of the world's richest men who just happens to have a fascination for murder.
He's difficult to pin down, weird character. He's sort of very louche and very big and incredibly sort of gregarious. Has a huge amount of energy, so when I wake up in the morning I have to really be on it every time I come into work. But it's great fun.
If I were to commit a crime, I should like to keep it very simple. An accident, perhaps. A shooting accident, for example.
He collects a group of people who have all gotten away with murder in their lives.
Oh, Mr. Shaitana, I must protest. When we poison our patients, it's entirely by accident.
He has them come to his house to play a game of cards. And at the same time, he's got 4 sleuths, 4 criminal masterminds. The only thing he's missing is the murder victim. And that turns out to be himself.
I'm very sorry to have to inform you that Mr. Shaitana is dead.
It's up to our crime solvers to either figure out if it's one of them or indeed one of the other 4 card players that have done it.
Eh bien, what we're searching for is a murderer who is impulsive, who will seize the opportunity, whatever the risk. It was someone in the apartment, and so they are questioned. And everybody has a past, a dark past. What is this past? It is for Poirot to find out. Madame Lorimer, she holidays in Egypt. Madame Craddock, she dies in Egypt. And Shaitana, always he is there, in Egypt.
I was hoping for a trip to Egypt in this one, but no, alas, we didn't. We are shooting it on a green screen, which is a computer-generated image.
I think it took a lot of courage for the writers to set this show on a planet with a green sky. It's one of the wildest things. It'll probably work on the day, though.
I think the green screen work nowadays is so good that it'll look terrific.
127, take 2, A and B marks. Action.
Egypt is a pretend thing, a postcard on a picture.
May I take your picture? You look so romantic, looking out across the Nile.
One of the guests at the bridge party is Ariadne Oliver, a crime writer, partly based on Agatha Christie herself, and brilliantly played here by Zoe Wanamaker.
Criminals. It's jolly curious. Here are the 4 of us, and we're all, well, for want of a better word, sleuths.
She is a friend of Poirot's, and she's a sort of a spur for him, and a complete opposite to him, a mess, but full of ideas, and helps him solve some crimes.
Miss Meredith only stayed a couple of months. She's never mentioned it, has she?
Excellent, madame. You have done better than any of us.
What attracted me to Mrs. Oliver, because she was completely eccentric.
Lord, I went to Egypt once. It was dismal. The pyramids are actually tiny.
And slightly barking.
A Welsh name. Never trust the Welsh.
I just thought it would be fun, it would be a gas, and also because I've worked with David Suchet before, and we had such a good time together. I think it's a good coupling.
See you? You commence to think like a detective.
Do I?
Oui, bien sûr.
Zoe's created such a vivid portrayal of Ariadne Oliver that you really do feel that you're seeing a bit of Agatha Christie.
Action.
I don't know what you think, but I haven't the least doubt. It was the doctor. What was his name? Roberts. That's it.
Ariadne is the only lady at all that Poirot ever called by her Christian name. This does not mean that he is in love with her. I hasten to add, he is definitely not. But she is a friend.
What if they're all leading you up the garden path?
No, it is not possible to take Hercule Poirot along the path.
Ariadne appears in no less than 9 Poirot stories, so we may well be seeing more of Zoe and her alter ego in the future.
She and David Suchet make a fantastic couple together. So I'd hope they do many more of the 9 stories. I think it's all possible.
Cards on the Table also features an appearance by the Foyles War star Honeysuckle Weeks, who thoroughly enjoyed living a decade earlier.
So classy, isn't it? The whole setup and the way it's done, and the characters are so great.
think Agatha Christie really knew about people.
I wish you would tell him what happened at my Aunt Benson's, Annie. I feel sure it'd be better to mention it, because if something does come out, it might look rather bad.
My character is a rather jolly hockey sticks, if you want, kind of a character who's also a little bit on the, maybe AC/DC, I don't know.
I want to get married.
I should be forced to tell the police what I know.
You've been telling on me ever since we were at school.
I love doing period drama because you get given so much to help you with the character. You get the hats, you get the gloves, you get the stockings, we even get the underwear.
The producers of the Poirot films are sticklers for detail, especially when it comes to getting that 30s look. Wardrobe is vital.
I've really grown to like the 30s as a period because what we're seeing is this spectacle of people sort of living the high life and really enjoying it. But of course, it's usually spotted around the place with the odd murder or two.
But she has killed before, mademoiselle.
No, she hasn't.
Mais oui. She killed Madame Benson.
We've got Zoe Wanamaker in, and her character's quite colourful and eccentric. And yeah, there's a couple of outfits we've got here. There's her evening dress, and to go with that, she has a coat, which is an evening coat. And these for the scenes when they go to Mr. Shaitana's party.
Mrs. Oliver was the guest of honour.
Oh, yes, it was the crime writers' circle, wasn't it?
I did have an image of Ariadne quite early on when I started reading the books.
So it can't be her. And I never thought Roberts did it.
I was quite determined to have this wig, which I think is sensational, because we can do things with it, and I can scratch my head, and it looks like it's happening.
How wonderful. Fortunately, it's not just the writing, one has to think as well.
I've got false bosoms, which they're called medium beauties. You'll be pleased to hear. So all these things sort of help to create a real person.
Keeping costumes looking good on set is vital too, especially when the leading man is encased in foam rubber for most of the day.
It's a fairly lightweight foam padding, but it does get incredibly hot in there for him, and especially when you're filming in summer like now, it can at times be quite unbearable.
And there are tools of the trade to keep things looking their best.
In Hollywood in the olden days, when the actresses or even the chorus in period costumes with big frills, they couldn't sit down, so they had what is called a leaning board. It always provides a point of interest for anybody looking, because they wonder, you know, why am I getting special treatment? But it's not. The special treatment is given to my suit, not me.
The attention to detail also extends to the props, some of which are reassuringly expensive.
All this stuff is real. It comes from this amazing Aladdin's cave of a prop house. They cost enormous amounts of money. There's a fork somewhere that was like £2,000 and a lighter that's £10,000. So everyone has to watch these things before they go into people's pockets. I'm forever just nicking stuff by mistake.
I pounce upon it now.
It's okay, Alexander. Poirot doesn't investigate petty theft. Murder is his thing.
And the evil, it is disclosed.
More than 5 months after shooting the first frames in the south of France, the Poirot team are back at Shepperton, filming the closing scenes of the 4th and final episode of the series. And it's a darker version of Agatha Christie than we've been used to.
Now we're being more truthful to how she wrote and why people were so gripped by her novels. Was not because she was just jokey, but because they were serious novels that contained English eccentricity and Belgian eccentricity. Hercule Poirot?
You killed what?
Taken Up the Flood starts with a bang, literally, and proceeds with the usual combustible mixture of greed, jealousy, blackmail, and of course, murder. Once again, it features a dysfunctional English family, the Clodes.
You have a lot of unresolved indigo in your aura.
Today we're shooting the denouement, which is the point in every Poirot story where Poirot has come to the conclusion of who has done it.
Because you murdered her.
The scene today is in the Stag's Head, which is the local pub.
Leave for the police to find a little clue and
Poirot has called the entire clan to the pub to unveil who the villain is.
At 6:30, you return here to say yes Some people say, why doesn't he just say, you did it? Well, he's far too arrogant for that. And he's far too proud for that. This is his party piece. This is his moment of theater. And so he gets everybody in the room and he plays. But today, mes amis, Poirot shall produce a murderer of whose viciousness he stands in awe.
As has become the norm on Poirot, David Suchet is joined by some of the best-known actors on British television.
There's no way anybody's going to be able to tell who's done it, because everybody's so famous. There's no way you could guess, I don't think.
Having got ourselves completely in knots and not knowing quite what's happened and who's done what to whom, we find that Poirot actually has worked it all out, and we discover all the nastiness that's been going on, simmering underneath in the Claude family.
This dreadful man, Poirot, this awful Belgian, it reveals to everybody the full extent of my addiction. The sort of signs are, you know, this sort of thing, and he spotted this early on.
The physician, whose own digestive system is crippled by the colossal quantity of morphine.
He lays it out in front of everybody, so really, it's a pretty wretched afternoon for me.
And for Patrick Bellardi, it's a pleasant diversion from having to sort out the mayhem caused by David Brent in the hit TV comedy The Office.
It's very rare to do period stuff now. It used to be a mainstay. And to work with Mr. Suchet, of course. There's a lot to learn from him.
Non, pas possible, monsieur. Now, the one big difference in this one, which is most exciting for me to play, and forgive me for talking with my accent, but I'm going on in a minute, is his Catholicism. You wanted to crush the very soul of this simple Catholic girl. This story is absolutely rooted in his faith. If God should withhold his mercy from anyone on earth...
The final scenes in Taken at the Flood see David Suchet at his brilliant best, bringing all his stage experience to the small screen.
Intoxication.
Andy Wilson, our brilliant director, has allowed David to do the whole story of the denouement, so that we've had it in about 11 or 12 minutes or something.
Poirot, shall talk.
I've never seen an actor have to do such long takes and do it so utterly superbly each time. We quite rightly gave him a round of applause yesterday. Fantastic.
As shooting on the fourth film draws to a close, it's time to take stock.
It's turned out even better than I could have hoped, because each of the films has come out as a completely individual film, and it's very entertaining.
No one can always be right.
But I am. Always I am right.
And we've been lucky enough to attract some fantastic actors to it. This, of course, Agatha Christie writes great characters.
Have you not engaged the services of the greatest detective in the world? As far as this filming is concerned, this year, I have to say it's been my favorite year of all or any year I have filmed this series. Bravo! I genuinely mean this, non-theatrically, my happiest year of all. Peter's been with me for a few years now, and has grown the same moustache. Poirot, he sees things, madame. It is a habit that he cannot change.
So, what next for Suchet's Poirot?
C'est très mystérieux.
There is one story everyone wants him to do, including the man himself.
I'm desperate to do Orient Express, the same as I was so excited to do Death on the Nile. Yeah, these are big ones. These are big landmarks in Poirot's career.
According to the company that owned the rights to the Agatha Christie estate, David's wish could soon be realised.
There's an appetite here, there's an appetite internationally, and I think as long as Mr. Suchet has the time and disposition to carry on making them, and we can find the money to carry on making them, and the ITV audience wants us to carry on making them, we'll keep going.
Now that is information that is most intriguing.
David Suchet has been turning into Poirot for nearly 20 years now, and has almost completed the Agatha Christie catalogue.
Enfin. All of the pieces of the puzzle are in place.
And there's no reason to suggest that he won't collect the full set.
If we do get to the end, I will be so thrilled to bits that I've accomplished a life's dream as an actor. And that no one can say very often.